In a long-running battle over control of two companies which own each other. On the one side is one of Australia's oldest families, the Milners. On the other, one of Australia's largest fund managers, Perpetual. The fight is now before the federal court, with documents obtained by Financial Review Sunday laying out an unprecedented case which could have major ramifications for corporate law. Jemima White explains.
The move by Perpetual to unwind an unusual cross-shareholding has been described as throwing a hand grenade into Australian corporate law.
We haven't had a full-blown shareholder activism campaign taken on against one of the big boards in an Australian company yet.
It's actually, I reckon, the biggest thing that's happened to Australian corporate law in the last decade.
Perpetual is the largest investor in two interlocked companies, Brickworks and Washington H. Soul Pattinson. It has been lobbying since 2007 to unbundle the companies, with the aim to unlock value in both. But the companies hit back last year, suing the fund manager for misleading shareholders.
The board of Brickworks and Soul Pats believe that the cross-share should be preserved, and they're going to great lengths to make sure that nobody ever gets to vote on that.
There have just been a series of things that have happened over a long period of time where this board has ignored the interests of the largest shareholder. And when a proposal was put in front of the board, they chose to sue the proponent.
Critics of the Milner companies have concerns about the board's independence. Of the 6 men on the Brickworks board, chaired by Robert Milner, one is his cousin. Another is the former MD of a company owned by Brickworks. Robert Milner also chairs the Soul Pattinson's board. Among those members are the husband of his cousin, his son, and his brother-in-law.
It's important that shareholders get the chance to hold boards to account.
The main complaint is about the cross-shareholding. Soul Pattinson owns 44% of Brickworks, which owns 43% of Soul Pattinson. The companies have been allowed to continue with it because they have operated this way since 1969.
It basically disenfranchises every other shareholder because with those 43 and 44% shareholdings, the votes of any other shareholder are worthless.
The fact that the existing structures were allowed to stay in place under a grandfathering structure does not change the fact that they are unconscionable.
Perpetual and independent analysts believe that unwinding the cross-shareholding would unlock $1 billion worth of value. Together with investor Mark Carnegie, Perpetual has lodged a counterclaim in the federal court.
An oppression of minorities case has never been heard before in Australian court. What makes this one all the more extraordinary is that it's being brought by one of the country's largest investors. And any ruling on this case would be a complete game changer for Australian corporate law.
It's the first time we've ever seen anybody talk seriously about oppression in a public company environment, and it also introduces a question about the business judgment rule in Australian corporate law, which is something that's big in America but not so big here yet.
Perpetual will give Carnegie some of its shares in Brickworks and Soul Pattinson's if he manages to unlock the cross-shareholdings and the share price hits a certain mark. That deal expires at the end of this year.
Perpetual have been a shareholder in this company for nearly 2 decades. They are the most significant shareholder. They want this situation to stop and will continue to pursue this until it is made so.
And Brickworks and Soul Pattinson chair Robert Milner is overseas and chose not to comment on this story. The Brickworks battle